Welcome back to Real Estate Today. I'm Elliot Koolik. We're with Gary Schlossberg of National Home Building and Remodeling. And the music you hear in the background is music to Gary's ears, because if he didn't hear that, he'd be very upset, because that means things are being done on his job site. This is a classic example of a neighborhood that was built kind of in the 80s, I guess, right? And what you're starting to see now is a lot of additions and remodeling. And in this particular example, what is going on here, Gary?
Well, this is a typical example of what we do and what so many of our clients are doing. This is a second-story addition behind me. This homeowner added a third-car garage and a second story above. Probably more and more popular is the media rooms, the game rooms, and that's what we're doing here. We're adding bedrooms, bathrooms, a media room, a game room. So the house is going to really have it all when it's done.
Now, the existing house before they did the addition was how large?
The existing house is about 4,400 square feet.
And they're adding another 1,400?
About 1,400 and
a
change.
little under 6,000 square feet.
Right.
And what's kind of nice about a neighborhood, we happen to be in Les Jardins in Boca Raton, and what this neighborhood is known for, aside from the lush landscaping, is they have nice sized lots. And what you're starting to see is, as compared to some of the newer communities, land is at a premium. And I imagine one of the things that they kind of toyed with is that they love the neighborhood so much, it just was lacking in some of the newer amenities that some of the newer houses have.
Well, that's very true, Elliot. I mean, in this particular case, by going up, we did not sacrifice any of their yard. Now, as Elliot said at the beginning, this neighborhood's an older neighborhood. Some of the land or some of the lots are actually larger than some of the others we've seen. And this particular client wanted to maintain that. He has young children. He wants to maintain a nice yard with a pool. So by going up, we were able to accomplish more square footage and keep his yard the way it was, really. So it worked out well.
Now, when you met with them originally, what analysis did you go through to did they come to you and say, well, we're looking to do this type of addition, or had they done any homework before they even considered?
This particular client did do homework. He kind of knew what he wanted to do. He knew that he didn't want to sacrifice the yard. He knew he wanted to go up. He knew he wanted a game room. He knew he wanted a media room. He knew that he wanted a couple more bedrooms and a bathroom. So this homeowner was one of the more educated homeowners in that he really had a direction. So that helped us expedite things.
Now, I'm sure a lot of people at home, they don't really understand how long a lot of this process takes.
Right.
So from the day you met them till, let's say, you broke ground, how long was that process?
4 days.
4 days.
The first thing we have to do, of course, we do everything by code. So we have to get architectural plans, we have to get permits, and so on and so forth. Currently, permitting is taking about 6 to 8 weeks. Architectural plans, if they have them, we go right in for permit. If they don't, an architect might take, a couple of months before final drawings.
Did you recommend the architect on this?
In this case, we did, yes. We brought the architect here. So you're looking at about, probably about 5 weeks of actual working time on this project.
And I don't know if everyone at home can see what's going on, but I see they did concrete block on the first floor, and you did frame on the second.
Yes.
I know sometimes people, sometimes the whole house is built out of frame.
Right.
Sometimes it's all block. What are the issues that surround those kind of?
Well, again, in this particular case, this is an existing home. So that means the home was built with a certain type of foundation and footings to hold the foundation. So we're adding a second-story addition to what was a single-story home. So therefore, to lighten up some of the load on the second floor, we went ahead and did a stick frame or a framed wood second-story addition.
Now, I know a lot of houses are built concrete block on the first floor and frame on the second.
Yes.
Obviously, there's no issue with hurricanes as it relates to that versus, let's say, doing block all the way up.
I mean,
can you do block all the way up?
You can do block all the way up. Again, it's easier to do that with a new home than it is to a remodel, depending upon the existing structure. But as far as the hurricane question, Elliot, quite frankly, the codes have become so strict that whether we do it out of plywood, concrete block, or some other material, we have to adhere to such strict guidelines. It really doesn't make a difference.
Now, okay, it's a fair answer. Now on this house, I noticed that the roof, there's no roof obviously on the addition.
Correct.
And there's a roof on the existing house.
Correct.
Do you usually recommend that they replace the whole roof, or can you match the tiles, or what do you typically?
Well, in this particular case, it's a great question, because matching existing conditions is one of the most challenging parts of remodeling. When I walk away from a home, I don't want it to look like, oh, I see you added this part on. I want it to look like it was always part of the home. In this particular case, believe it or not, we managed to salvage almost all the roof tiles from the original roof that we took off. It took a long time and more labor and a little more, more expensive to do it, but we carefully took off all the roof tiles, and if we ever walk back to the back of the house, I can show you they're all stacked up.
Really? So you think that'll be enough coverage?
Well, I think it's going to help. Certainly in the front of the house where you see it the most, you'll never be able to know the difference. So.
Okay, that's very interesting. So, Gary, why don't we do this? Let's go take a look at, let's get up close and maybe we can kind of talk about, the type of trusses, the floor trusses, the plywood, how you applied it, and really give everybody at home a good understanding of what's involved, at least in this project.
Terrific.
Welcome back to Real Estate Today. I'm Elliot Koolik, and we're here with Gary Schlossberg with National Home Building and Remodeling. And we've been kind of talking about what's going on with remodeling and some of the issues surrounding it, and wanted to kind of look through one of his projects a little in more detail. So, Gary, these are the plans to what you're building.
Correct.
Correct. Okay, so why don't you walk everybody through it so they have an understanding.
Well, sure. I don't know if you all can see this, but basically what we're doing here, this homeowner has really encompassed everything that I think most of my clients are striving for. First of all, we added a third car garage on the first floor, which of course we all know we don't have enough storage or car room for our cars, and that's a great attribute right there. Going up to the second floor, we added a guest bedroom with its own bathroom. This is kind of interesting. It's a media room, which is totally soundproof. It's going to be like a home theater, which is terrific if you can get it in your home. And then you can see this large area of space is going to be a playroom. Now, I don't know if it's a kid's playroom or an adult playroom because it is so large. It has a beautiful, or it's going to have a beautiful wet bar, and it's just a fantastic place to entertain. So this house is really encompassing so many of the things that are desired today.
And it's really amazing. I'm looking at the area calculations, and the square footage actually is, originally it was 5,300, and they're taking it up to almost 7,000 square feet. So, sometimes you think that 5,000, 4,000, 3,000 is a lot of space, but in this particular case, I guess they really just wanted more.
Well, I mean, these clients plan on being here for a long time, maybe retiring in this home. They want to make sure there's plenty of space for their kids and maybe their kids' kids. So what we are doing is looking towards the future with this remodel.
Okay, great. Gary, why don't we walk through the site a little bit and just maybe point out some things to everybody at home as far as what goes on when you're actually remodeling.
Sure.
So why don't we go this way? You want to leave the plans here?
Okay.
Okay, so
Elliot, here we are a little bit closer to the home that we're doing. You can see that this is the third car garage here on the first floor, obviously. Up above is where the guest bedroom and bathroom will be. Perhaps we can get a shot. I mean, the addition goes all the way back. And again, does not impair on his property, on his yard. So it's a terrific situation for everybody.
Now, Gary, notice what are the straps there?
Well, again,
those are hurricane straps?
Those are hurricane straps, typical of South Florida building code. By code, you have to be secured from the very peak of the roof to the walls, to the trusses. I mean, you have to be secured all the way down to the first floor. So that's typical hurricane strapping that is required of today.
And what do you have to strap it in a certain amount of distance all the way around the whole?
Every single joist and every single beam and every single 2x4 or 2x8 needs to be strapped, so that, I mean, if it's kind of one of those things that if you do not strap it properly, and God forbid we have a disaster like we had last year, and start to get in, even 1 weak area could really affect the whole structure. So
you really have to make sure
everything's got to be strapped.
Okay. I noticed that you have I haven't seen this actually. I noticed you have the dumpster covered.
Right.
Why? Is that something that your company does, or?
Well, earlier we were speaking about what do you look for in a contractor and so on and so forth. And I said, well, we become part of your family, so to speak. Well, this is what I'm talking about. I mean, it's difficult to be here. I mean, the client, we get along great, but he's anxious to get into his home. We know that a dumpster in his driveway is probably not the most ideal situation for him. So, especially towards the latter part of the day, we like to cover up the dumpster. First of all, it makes it a little bit less, unsightly, and secondly, it prevents debris from blowing into the neighbors. So, this is something that we try and do every night, and to accommodate the client.